The scriptures that have been proclaimed to us today invite us to consider the importance of community. We are social beings. We need one another. We are born in a helpless condition in need of others, mother and father, doctors and nurses, etc. As we continue to grow until the day of our death, we gradually increase in our understanding of the importance of others to our well-being, be they parents, relatives, friends, spouses, siblings, and many others. We need each other. Our first reading today describes the disease of leprosy and what must be done to protect the community. In our gospel, Jesus is confronted by a leper seeking healing. The biblical word for leprosy is a general term that covered a wide variety of chronic skin diseases. Leprosy, therefore, in biblical times, was not what we refer to as Hansen's disease, which is a chronic infectious disease caused by a microbacterium formation of molecules or macules that enlarge and spread, accompanied by loss of sensation with eventual paralysis, wasting of muscle, and production of deformities. Today, it is incurable but treatable. St. Damien of Molokai, as a young priest, voluntarily went to minister to the lepers who had been quarantined on the island of Molokai, and loved them, ministered to them in every way, and himself died as a leper. He was canonized in 2009 by Pope Benedict XVI. Not unlike Stanley Rother, our own priest, who went to serve the people in Guatemala. Like Damien, he had difficulty with the Latin language during his studies. But in Guatemala, among his people, he loved them, learned their native language, learned Spanish as well, and helped to translate the scriptures into their native language. Today's reading from the book of Leviticus, our first reading, describes the ritual to be carried out by the priest, who in those days served as spiritual and community leader, in addition to having medical authority within the community. The person who exhibited a skin disease was to present herself or himself to the priest to be inspected, to ascertain whether or not she or he had a contagious disease. If the answer was affirmative, then the priest was to declare the person unclean, which required that the person live apart from the community, unable to attend worship services, unable to be among others, to physically change their appearance, disheveled hair and wearing torn garments, and to vocally call out to others who came near that they were unclean. In those days, it was also believed that that condition was brought on by some kind of sin. The real tragedy of such an affliction was the social estrangement and the religious or ritual alienation imposed because of it. How painful it has to be away from any and all those that we love, and from all people. In addition, anyone who had direct contact with someone or something that was unclean was also considered unclean. But the Bible also had a ritual for those who recovered from the contagious skin disease or condition, in which case they would go to the priest to be inspected again and then declared clean. Today, for example, if one had the skin disease of psoriasis, skin disease characterized by circumscribed red patches covered with white scales, they would have been declared in those days a leper. Life can be harsh and can exact a toll of suffering on us in this pandemic time. Fear and anguish can come to us and to those afflicted by COVID. Separation from loved ones, ritual distance from one another at Mass, the wearing of masks, smaller groups at funerals or marriages, etc., etc. Sometime in life, every one of us will have to endure physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual suffering. In the most supportive of communities, suffering may exact a price we may not be prepared to pay. In our gospel today, a leper approaches Jesus, disobedient about the requirements of the law, kneels down in front of him, begs him for healing, and knows that Jesus has the power to actually heal him. Jesus draws near to him, touches him, which technically makes Jesus unclean, and heals him. He instructs him to go to the priest so he can fulfill the law and be declared clean. It seems obvious that he disobeyed Jesus as well, knowing that he had been healed, and he proclaimed it to all with joy that he had been healed by Jesus. Jesus is not deterred by human suffering. He welcomes all who approach. He touches us with his loving embrace. And in the kingdom of God, there are no outsiders, for all belong to Jesus. And therefore, we all belong to each other. The community is very important. We need each other, and we need Jesus.